Hello? Is this thing on? Okay, maybe you're wondering, who is this punk kid? Why did they ever enlist this guy to do a devotional? That's okay if you're wondering that. You're not alone. I wonder that every day. But here we are, and here I am. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to be reading from James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. One of my favorite verses. I've been studying the book of James this past couple months throughout quarantine, and it's one of the most convicting books, and I hope this convicts you. So here it is. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. I don't know about you guys, but this is a really hard verse for me to hear. When I face trials, when I go into trials, and it doesn't say if we go into, right? We've never been promised the easy life as Christians. It says when we face trials, they're coming. And we're in the midst of a lot of different trials, a lot of different hardship, a lot of different heartache right now in our country, in our homes, in our church. There's a lot going on. And your immediate response probably isn't joy. Your immediate response is, when is this going to end? How can I get out of here? Or anger, right? Or sadness. But James is calling us to consider this, right? Count it as joy when we face these things. And why on earth would we count it as joy? Is because when we count it as joy, it is a testing of our faith. These trials are a testing of our faith. They don't create faith in us, but it's a testing of our faith that can create perseverance. Someone told me a long time ago that I was going through something hard, and he kind of just posed the question of, what if when we were searching or going through something hard, instead of looking back years later and saying, oh, God really taught me this, or God really showed me this, what if we faced all of our trials, all of our hardship, and faced them with hands open and said, God, what do you have for me? What do you teach me through this? And I think this is the attitude James is asking us to have. Consider it pure joy when we go through things, because God is molding us. He's shaping us through this hardship, and it produces perseverance in us. And maybe we're asking, okay, so what does perseverance mean, right? What does that produce? Well, in Romans chapter 5, in verse 3, it kind of explains that for us. It says, we also glory in our sufferings, right? We rejoice in our trials, and we glory in our sufferings. Why? Because we know that suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope. This perseverance leads us to a place of hope. A hope that carries on through heartache, a hope that carries on through hardship, and a hope that overcomes our fear. Right, that it overwhelms us, that we don't even have time to be afraid. It is so easy right now during quarantine months, during all the unrest that is happening, to be so caught up in fear. I catch myself in it all the time, of just being so discouraged and fearful and anxious and just honestly just sad. But if we go into this with the attitude of, I'm going to consider this pure joy, because I know that the Lord is working in me, right? And the Lord is absolutely, without a doubt, working in his churches, right? We are in a time where change is happening. New people are watching, seeing the truth of the gospel, and that is so exciting. So instead of having our first reaction to hardship of being, get me out of here, run as far away, we can have perseverance in that hardship and that heartache with this joy that the Lord has given us. Because this isn't a thing that comes naturally to us. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit, right? This is something the Holy Spirit gives us, nothing that I can conjure, because if it's up to my emotions or anything there, I'm not feeling happy, I'm not feeling thankful for it, I'm going to feel anger, I'm going to feel sad, I'm going to feel a little bit bad. But James is calling us to say, consider it pure joy. And a joy that leads to a testing, that leads to perseverance, that builds character in us, that leads to hope. And a hope that can overcome fear. That's exactly where Satan wants us to be, in that fearful state of mind. But when we say, we're gonna go out with this joy. We're gonna find hope in this. It gives all the power back to God. And we start facing trials of not saying, well, I can do it, or how can I fix this, or how can I control this situation. It's forced us into a position that we can say, Lord, what do you have for us? What do you have for us today? What do you have for us this week, this year? 2020's been crazy, God. Where are you at? But this is where I'm at. My hands are open wide. I'm looking to you in humility. This attitude requires a humility. We can't go into this because our pride says we're going to control this situation. We're going to fix it. I got to handle this. I got to be like the strong person I am to handle this. But instead, we're going to say, we're going to go in and we're going to choose joy. And we're going to let the Lord allow us to test us, to produce a stronger faith within us so that we can give him control and give back to him of what he has for us. So I encourage you today, tomorrow, next week, next year, from 10 years from now, that you would face heartache and hardship with a new attitude of saying, I'm going to choose joy today. Every single day we have to make that decision. If not, we're going to be caught up in our own fear. So I pray, and it would be my encouragement would be as I'm learning, as God's teaching me, is to choose joy. Right? To choose joy over fear, and a joy that produces a hope in us, that we can hope and trust in a God that has everything in his hands and is in control of us. And even the things that look scary and chaotic and completely out of control, he has those handles too. So I pray that we would lead our lives with open hands and open hearts, trusting God and choosing joy. Thanks.